I stepped into the boardroom, my fingers gripping my aunt's notes so tightly they threatened to tear. The air was thick with polished arrogance, the kind that makes every heartbeat feel like a countdown. I could feel the anticipation gnawing at my stomach, but underneath it, a pulse of dread. This was not just any meeting. It was the stage where they had always dismissed her, reduced her to invisible whispers. She cleared her throat, carefully choosing her words, the kind that could cut through the pretense of authority. And then it happened. The chairman leaned back in his leather chair, a cold, mocking smirk curling his lips, and interrupted her. "I don't think that's relevant," he said, as if her ideas were nothing more than background noise. A ripple of laughter traveled across the room. Colleagues exchanged those petty, amused glances, the kind that made you want to vanish. Their whispers, sharp and low, cut through the silence like knives. I felt the weight of it all pressing down on my chest, my heartbeat hammering in a mix of anger and helplessness. "Are you sure you understand the full scope here?" the chairman continued, his tone dripping with condescension. The room seemed to lean in, hanging on his every word, waiting to watch her crumble. But she didn't. Her hands trembled ever so slightly, betraying the storm inside her, yet her eyes held a fire I had never seen before. Then, the junior executive at the far end of the table laughed, a loud, brazen sound meant to humiliate. I wanted to scream, to throw the world at them, but my voice was trapped inside me, restrained by years of taught decorum. She collected her papers, each movement deliberate, slow, defiant. Her head remained high, her composure absolute. Tears threatened, but she swallowed them, refusing to offer them the satisfaction. And in that small, silent act, I saw a spark, a hidden rage, almost dangerous in its intensity, simmering just beneath the surface. The meeting marched on, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath her calm exterior. Yet the damage was done. Everyone had seen her as weak, powerless, as if all those years of effort, of brilliance, were meaningless. I felt my blood boil as I watched the injustice play out, but a strange clarity settled over me. This wasn't the end. I silently vowed that it would not end here. My mind raced, weaving strategies, imagining ways to shift the scales. Every whispered insult, every snicker, etched itself into my memory, fueling a fire that demanded justice. Even as I left the room, shaken by the scene, a flicker of inspiration ignited within me. I realized that power isn't given. It's taken. And my aunt, no, we were about to take it back. I remember the early days of my aunt's career, the way she carried herself with quiet brilliance, only to be invisible in every room that mattered. She was always the smartest person in the office, yet the promotions went to men who couldn't string a sentence together, let alone deliver results. Each time she smiled politely, nodding while the world overlooked her talent, swallowing the frustration that clawed at her chest. Her parents had taught her resilience, drilled into her the importance of patience and perseverance. But the corporate walls didn't care about lessons from home. They crushed it every single time. She poured herself into her work, giving her mind, her nights, her very soul, only to watch mentors she trusted steal credit for ideas that were hers. I still remember the look on her face the day she realized her innovation had been claimed by someone else, a forced smile masking a quiet rage. We spent countless nights together in her small apartment, the glow of a single lamp illuminating her notes as tears slipped silently down her cheeks. Determination mixed with sorrow, every page a testament to her struggle. She sacrificed friendships, ignored personal life, focused on work that would never acknowledge her worth. Yet in that silence, strength was forged, a steel that would one day become unbreakable. There were smaller injustices too. She lent money to a colleague only to be mocked behind her back when repayment was delayed by circumstances she never controlled. Family dinners reminded her of societal expectations she quietly defied, expectations she would never let dictate her choices. Each slight, each betrayal became another layer in the armor she wore invisibly. Looking back, I see now that the boardroom humiliation wasn't an isolated event. It was the echo of decades of being overlooked, undermined, and belittled. The softness in her eyes, once gentle and forgiving, had hardened into a calculated, deliberate steel. I could feel the weight of her endurance, the intimate connection to her pain. Every moment of quiet generosity, every time she helped others without recognition, fueled my resolve. Her strength wasn't born overnight. It was cultivated through years of silent battles, a slow burning fire that now waited only for the right moment to roar. I watched her slip into the office of a trusted financial advisor, her calm exterior flawless, masking the storm of strategy brewing beneath. She spoke softly, deliberately, as if the very walls might betray her intentions. I could see the gears turning in her mind, calculating every move with ruthless precision. Quietly, almost invisibly, she began acquiring small shares of the company, each one unnoticed by the people who had humiliated her so publicly. It was subtle, methodical, the kind of patience only born from years of being overlooked. The board remained blind, oblivious to the slow shift in power quietly taking root beneath their arrogance. Rumors began to stir, whispers of her influence growing, but the chairman waved them off with dismissive laughter, convinced nothing could threaten his control. Yet the subtle tremor in the room told a different story, one that he refused to read. Sabotage came in small, almost imperceptible forms. Emails mysteriously altered, insider whispers trying to rattle her composure. But she faced each one with the patience of a predator. I watched her maintain meticulous records, each detail noted, each slight catalogued. Her vengeance was precise, deliberate, like a master sculptor shaping her masterpiece. The tension was palpable as she started quietly networking with key shareholders, her calm demeanor hiding the force of her ambition. I saw the transformation in her. No longer the quietly humiliated woman of the past, but a calculating, poised power moving deliberately toward retribution. Every insult, every whispered joke at her expense, became fuel, each slight a stepping stone toward her ultimate revenge. Small victories began to surface. One by one, allies on the board started to recognize her authority, the quiet influence that had been building unseen. I helped gather evidence of unethical practices among executives, each piece fitting into the puzzle of justice she was constructing. I watched her practice her speeches alone at night, envisioning the shock, the disbelief on their faces when the time came. There was an intoxicating fire in her eyes, a patience-turned weapon. Every calculated move, every silent maneuver brought us closer to the moment where humiliation would be reversed and justice finally claimed. The phone rang unexpectedly, its sharp tone cutting through the quiet of the office. My aunt picked it up, her expression unreadable, and I overheard fragments, words like concern, mismanagement, and discontent. The call was from a key investor, one who had always sided with the chairman. The revelation was subtle, but it sparked a plan in her mind. She leaned back, calm and deliberate, understanding immediately how to leverage this new discontent. Alliances could be shifted quietly, imperceptibly, turning the chairman's strongest supporters into hesitant observers. Her eyes scanned every possibility, calculating the ripple effect of each move. In the following days, she uncovered hidden financial mismanagement that the board had tried desperately to conceal. Every falsified document, every overlooked ledger became ammunition. The air grew thick with tension as she confronted her advisor, confirming that her legal strategy was airtight, foolproof. A junior board member, previously silent, began feeding her critical insider information, small but essential pieces that strengthened her position. The chairman, oblivious at first, grew uneasy. He sensed a shift, a subtle current he could not yet define, and his confidence began to waver. She timed everything with precision, identifying the exact moment when her actions would have maximum impact. The anticipation in the office was almost tangible. The day came when she decided to reveal her share acquisition to the entire board. I watched her, calm, poised, unshakable, ready to confront years of disrespect in a single decisive act. In that moment, it hit me. Humiliation was temporary, but strategy was permanent. Every ally she secured, every piece of information gathered, became part of a larger reckoning, a carefully orchestrated storm. The boardroom, once a theater of her suppression, was about to witness the power she had quietly amassed, and nothing would ever be the same again. She walked into the boardroom like a storm disguised in calm, a single document clutched in her hand. The moment she placed it on the table, every eye turned, disbelief rippling through the room. It was proof. undeniable evidence of her majority shares. Gasps echoed, the chairman's confident posture faltering as the reality sank in. I believe it's time we review the facts, she said, her voice steady, controlled, cutting through the tension like a blade. Silence fell, thick and heavy, every board member frozen in shock. I watched as the humiliation she had suffered for years now reversed. Their mockery reflected back at them, powerless against her newfound authority. She revealed financial leverage meticulously, exposing mismanagement and unethical practices the board had tried so desperately to conceal. The chairman opened his mouth, attempting to interrupt, but she didn't flinch. Her presence alone commanded the room, her calm dominance unshakable. Shareholders shifted in their seats, nodding in agreement, allegiance slowly tipping in her favor. The emotional weight of the moment intensified as longtime allies of the chairman realized their loyalty had been misplaced, betrayal etched painfully across their faces. She enforced sweeping policy changes, removing corrupt executives and installing fairness protocols that would protect the company's integrity for years to come. I saw it in her eyes. Satisfaction, triumph, and a quiet relief that only those who've endured years of suppression could understand. Every insult, every public slight she had endured became a lesson in patience and strategy. Legal actions were executed swiftly, ensuring no one could undermine her again. The power they had mocked, the authority they tried to dismiss, now stood indomitable before them. I felt pride swelling in my chest, awe at her unwavering resolve, and an emotional catharsis as justice unfolded before my eyes. The humiliation that had once chained her was gone, replaced by a force they could no longer deny. Her victory was absolute, her dignity restored, and the echoes of her silent suffering finally transformed into unstoppable power. The boardroom, once a chamber of fear and whispered intimidation, now trembled under her quiet authority as she chaired the meeting with unwavering confidence. Every movement she made radiated control, a presence forged from years of silent endurance and meticulous planning. I watched as colleagues approached her with cautious admiration, their former mockery replaced by acknowledgement and respect. Even the most skeptical investors expressed relief, their trust shifting visibly, reinforcing the power she now held so effortlessly. In that moment, personal vindication settled over her like a warm light. Decades of silent suffering, every insult endured, every slight ignored, were finally validated. We shared small, private celebrations afterward, her laughter unburdened, free from the shame that had once weighed so heavily upon her. I reflected on the patience, strategic foresight, and moral resilience it had required to reach this point. The company itself began to transform. New policies, transparent practices, and accountability reshaped its culture, ensuring fairness and respect would no longer be optional. The chairman's downfall was quiet but undeniable. His arrogance, once the backbone of his dominance, was dismantled piece by piece, leaving only the hollow echo of his former authority. She took time to mentor younger employees, safeguarding them from the disregard she had once suffered, planting seeds of empowerment for the future. A profound sense of justice washed over me, intertwined with satisfaction and closure. Her story spread quietly among industry circles, earning her a respect that had long been denied. Emotional wounds healed gradually, leaving behind not bitterness but strength. Strength born from patience, strategy, and an unwavering will that had finally claimed its due. I've shared this story with intensity, every word carrying the weight of patience, strategy, and moral fortitude. This isn't just a tale of revenge, it's a testament to the power of resilience. A reminder that humiliation, when endured with grace, can fuel transformation stronger than anger alone. Calculated action always triumphs over impulsive retaliation. I hope you see the value in silent endurance, in strategic planning, in waiting for the perfect moment to reclaim what was denied. Strength is rarely loud. It often resides in composure, in intelligence, in the quiet confidence of those who refuse to be broken. Reflect on your own experiences, moments of injustice, of betrayal, of being overlooked. Let this story remind you that empowerment often grows from patience and foresight, and that the smallest voice, when guided by determination, can shake the strongest walls. And remember this: Sometimes the quietest voice becomes the loudest force. If you felt the intensity of this journey, subscribe for more stories of clever, emotional revenge and personal triumph. Thank you for witnessing a path paved with justice, patience, and ultimate vindication. Hold on to this story. Feel the tension, the triumph, and let anticipation linger. Because the next story is already waiting to unfold.